What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Plákata Nation. And I'm joined by the one and only, mi primo directamente desde el Bronx, Cos Rod. And of course, we got our baseball writer extraordinaire, our insider, finds out every little secret out there for us, Jesus Ortiz. Fellas,
wait. Little secret, Jesus, wasn't there a little secret that was exposed last week that we didn't know about, Jesus? But you know, I don't know what's the 800-pound gorilla. What's the 800-pound gorilla in the room, Jesus?
Yeah, I tell you what, there's nothing like reading breaking news from somebody else when your boy is the guy with the news. Congratulations, Carlos Peña, Gerente General, General Manager.
Woo!
Escogido. Congratulations. What a great honor. It's so cool. Congratulations, Carlos. Well deserved. You're smart as hell. You're a baseball guy. I can't wait to see you win the championship, because if you don't, we're going to give you grief, bro.
Oh, man. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Man, you had that up your sleeve, brother. I was trying to move on to the next topic.
No. Listen, I'm gonna have to get rid of all my Licey stuff now, because you've moved on and you're this person. Listen, first of all, Carlos, bro, let me tell you, I can't tell you how proud I am of you, man. Like, you know, you're my cousin, and you're like a brother to me, and you've always been there to always offer me advice. And my man, I'm so proud of you. You're just a super intelligent dude. You love baseball. You breathe the game, and you're extra passionate about Dominican baseball, which is even better. This is huge for you. I know this is a major stepping stone, and you know, God knows where this could lead. But I just want to say, man, congratulations. I know you are going to do a fantastic job, man.
Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate all the kind wishes. And Rod, you said it. You know, every conversation we've had about the Dominican Republic and the baseball there, and Jesus, that was, you know, for the first time when I obviously experienced it was when I was a kid, right? I was a fan. So I went to watch the games over there in Estadio Quisqueya, and I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. This is beautiful. You know, I became a huge fan of you know, the league, but the style of play. But that was as a fan, as a young kid, right? I come back as a player, you know, and I'm 20 years old, coming back as a professional player, trying to get some seasoning. Oh my God. It was a totally different, I mean, it was another level. And Rod knows all about it, because I expressed how intense it was. I was like, Rod, I've never seen anything like this. Like, the intensity is just ridiculous. You know what? And I think that really prepared me for the big leagues. You know, like in the big leagues, I could honestly say there was not a time where I felt pressure from, let's say, fans, right? I never felt that, like, pressure. Of course not. After you go to DR, forget it. Like, the pressure you feel there is absolutely ridiculous as a player, and it molds you. So, you know, and the intensity, how much fun they had. So anyways, you know, for this to get to this point where I get an opportunity to be a GM of a team with incredible tradition and history, and winning legacy, it's truly a blessing. So I'm really excited about taking this task on, and I'm going to give it the best I got. You better believe that.
So thank you. Now, because we don't want to be scooped anymore, now we got to put the screws on. So do you have a manager who's going to be your manager, and who's the manager? Which players are you coming after? And I hope you can retain this kid named Junior Caminero. Talk to us. Who's your manager?
Well, our manager is Alex Cintrón, and you're very familiar with this name. And Alex is going to be our manager. Obviously, extremely solid ball player when he played, and I played against him, and you know, truly respected him because of how hard he played. But then, even after his career, then just coaching and learning and studying, you know, he's so studious about the game, so knowledgeable about the game, and now with the Houston Astros organization, he is such an important piece of that ball club, and how he applies all the knowledge and all the advanced, you know, statistics and things like that Okay, that's fine and dandy, but guess what? You have to know how to translate that to players, make it digestible for players instead of clouding them with so much information. Guess what? Cintron is a master at that. Yeah, that communication and knowing how to distill what's truly important. What can this player use? So I'm really excited about that, the communication skills that Cintron has and the ability for him to distill the information and give something that's digestible to players. Excited about that. I mean, he's also had success as a GM in Puerto Rico. He is so well-versed, so well-rounded. We're excited to have him.
Now, what about Junior Caminero? I mean, that's a nice starting point there, Carlos. That's a really nice starting point.
You guys don't waste any time. I'm going to tell you. First of all, this man right here was absolutely huge last season. When he won, with the Leones won the championship in Dominican Republic, went on to win the Caribbean World Series as well, right? But I have to say this, like just that moment in time when he went straight up center field, Plakata, and then the celebration. I mean, that's got to be one of the most epic moments ever in Winter League history.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. And then the fact that we had the technology. Check this out. I mean, this is all about. Let's let it play, please. Let it play. Listen to this.
Llegó procedente del círculo de espera, Calma Fresh. Un batazo al dolor de garganta. Lleva de 4-3 en el juego. Jairo Asensio, el líder en juego salvado de todos los tiempos. Duro por el center field. No. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Lo hizo otra vez. Óiganme, señores. ¿Qué palo ha dado este muchacho?
Con calidad certificada, calidad Infaca.
Yeah, man. Look at that celebration.
I'm speechless because of a few things. This happened to Licey, the team I root for. But I can't deny the epicness of that home run. The swing, the fling of the bat, the celebration before walking the base pad. This is what Carlos was talking about, folks. It's the sounds, it's the excitement, it's everything, man. And wow, this was a moment. This was a heck of a moment. I remember this being on TV the following day here in the States. Like they put this everywhere. Like this was all over social media. And I mean, what a freaking moment! What a moment that was, And it was the driving factor for the El Escogido to go and win it all, and then go to the Caribbean World Series and win it all. So, Carlos, you're falling into a good situation. There's winning formula there, my brother.
Let me tell you, Junior Caminero with that big home run, right, and how epic it was. Obviously, and I say this with all the confidence in the world, that is the most epic home run in the history of Dominican Republic, right? The league, right? LIDOM. Now, this is the thing. Because of all the technology that we have to be able to go back and play this, you see all the social media. I mean, it was all over the world. And you could see that intensity right there. That's what happens in Dominican Republic when you are in La Capital, Estadio Quisqueya, Licey versus Escogido, Águilas, also a team that has an incredible following. Las Estrellas, when you go to San Pedro, forget it. It's crazy there as well. San Francisco de Macorís, unreal, right? Yeah, so let me tell you, it's so intense. Now, this went everywhere because of, what we have now, the social media all over the place. Andy Abad, right? Andy Abad hit a big home run called El Tulilazo, right? And that was, over 20 years ago. And it was a big one for a championship that we won with Licey. The problem with that, or let's say, they're like, which one was bigger? And I say, well, this one was, right? Caminero's was. Number one, it was, game 7, this is the last game. Everything was on the line for both. Yeah. So it was still that epic. But the social media impact that Caminero's shot had cannot be compared with Andy's. So, Andy, will always be remembered. But I think this one just takes that first place because it was just heard around the world. Everybody saw it. Unbelievable.
That was a moment, man. That was a incredible moment. And again, Carlos, man, like, you know, like this is amazing. I know we're talking about Junior, but I gotta just fall back on you, man. Like this is so cool, man. It's like so surreal that this is actually happening. And again, you're coming into a situation where the club just won it all, you know. And I know those guys, team ownership, they're really excited to run it back and possibly go in for another one. You know what I mean? And the excitement is there. You know, you can tell. And I know Junior Caminero has talked about it. I know other players have talked about it. Man, you got a special player in this kid. This kid is special. He's special for the Rays. You know, I know we're going to talk about that now. He's special for the Rays. He just, you know, and if you want, we could just transition to that right now, man.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So we have a surprise for everyone because we, our very own, you know, Jesus Ortiz, doing what he does, you know, had an opportunity to speak to Caminero, and that was, it's gold, man. It's gold. So Jesus, without further ado, please let us know how it transpired, and let's get into it.
Well, first of all, a hat tip to Rodney Linares, the former World Baseball Classic manager for Dominican Republic, hijo de Julio Linares, legendary Dominican family, and bench coach of the Tampa Bay Rays. I've had a long working relationship with Rodney, and he was talking to me about this kid, and then he's like, "Hey," and I said, "Rodney, I'd like to interview him." He goes, "Hey, let me introduce him," and he sent Christopher Morel into the outfield during BP, and Caminero, like, he's like, "Hey, Rodney's calling," because he couldn't hear, because, you know, Rodney was whistling, calling him, but he couldn't hear us. And then he ran up and, you know, totally respectful, you know, introduced himself, typical Latino, respectful, you know, mucho gusto, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day he came in before he even got dressed, before he had eaten, he sat down and we did an interview. And I tell you what, like, I told him that recently somebody I respect in Major League Baseball said, "Hey, this kid is comparable to Miguel Cabrera." When you hear that, you're like, "Oh my!" And then you dig in a little bit, like, okay, the kid was up in the majors at 20 years old. His 19-year-old season, he spent most of the, you know, he just turned, his birthday's July 5th. So, and then I started looking at the numbers, and he's 21 years old, and he's off to his best season, and literally just had the best week of his career here in Houston. He might as well have been Mayor John Whitmire. He owned the city, man. 6 RBIs one day, and then does what nobody had done at his age: 4 for 5, 4 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Nobody had ever done that at his young age. Like I said, he won't be 22 until July 5th. And, you know, I had a long conversation with him, you know, darn near 10 minutes, and we talked about everything. We talked about his 6 RBI performance. We talked about his dreams. He told me, like, all he ever wanted to do was be a baseball player. And let's show you, first of all, like, the humility with which he received my comments about Miguel Cabrera.
Alguien que yo respeto y que tú conoces me dijo que quizás tú podrías ser como un jugador como Miguel Cabrera. Cuando oyes eso, ¿qué significa para ti? Ese es un caballo. No, caballo no, eso es una leyenda. Eso es una leyenda. Yo mediante futuro Salón de la Fama, que me vayan a comparar con Miguel Cabrera es algo que me da mucha alegría, me da mucho ánimo a mí para yo seguir trabajando, seguir dando lo mejor de mí. Y escuchar personas que dicen eso sobre mí me da más ánimo para seguir dando lo mejor de mí en el terreno de juego, y compararme con esa leyenda es más que una bendición. Junior, gran juego ayer, 6 carreras impulsadas. ¿Cómo te sentiste ayer y qué significa ese juego para ti? Me siento bien, gracias a Dios. Significa demasiado, gracias papá Dios por la victoria, que ganamos ayer, tuvimos la victoria. Y nada, jugando en equipo es lo importante, el picheo, el bateo, todo está saliendo el resultado.
You asked him about the game he had. It was one of the best game, well, the best game of his career. And even even his face, you could see, look, that happened yesterday. I'm grateful. But I kind of love the fact that he's able to just be like, it's over. We won that game. Now I got to focus on today. I don't know if he got that sense. I'm like, all right, he's 21 years old. And, you know, when you have a day like he just had the day before, maybe you're like, maybe riding high. This guy's even keel. Even keel, man. That's how you're clutch. That's how you come up in big moments, because you don't build them up. You're able to, it's just like a walk on the park. That's a different mindset, bro. Like that's not easy to do. And then when things go well, he said it. I'm grateful. That's it. So it's not even like, oh my God, I'm riding high. No, I'm grateful. That's in the bag. Thank you, God. He said, thank you, God. Right? And then I'm glad we won. He mentioned the team. He didn't say, I'm picking out these things. He didn't say, I hit the home run or I did this. He said, I'm happy for our win. So do you understand? Like, I'm seeing there's this maturity there. And I love what the way, you know, where his mind is at. And I mean, personally, for him, I'm extremely excited about his career. Obviously, the ceiling is extremely high. The potential is just exponential. So you could only imagine us having him with Escogido. Yes, we know how much he brings to the table, but I think everyone is shooting for him to succeed in the big leagues for years to come.
Yeah, to me, he came off as a very mature kid. I mean, we have to remember, 21 years old, man. Some of these guys in the majors at 26 don't handle success as well as he's handling it at 21. It's so easy for these young guys to kind of like go a different way. But also, before we go back to Junior Caminero, we have to address this. That same day I spoke to him was one of the most magical nights in baseball history. Another Dominicano, one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player in Major League Baseball right now, Framber Valdez. The dude has thrown a no-hitter before. He took a no-hitter within 1 out last year against the Rangers. The dude may have thrown later that evening after interview Junior, he may have thrown the best outing of his career. He gave up a home run to Jose Caballero on the second pitch of the game, and then needed only 81 pitches. And then in great fashion, Yainer Diaz, who called the game, walked it off and they won 2-1. Imagine 83 pitches. It had been more than 34 years since Tom Glavine was the last left-hander to throw a complete game with 83 pitches.
That's insane.
83 pitches, bro.
Those are throwback numbes right there, man. That is unreal.
No, but honestly though, bro, you can't even say those are throwback numbers because it hadn't happened in 30 years. It doesn't happen. 83 pitches, bro. Gave up, bro. Like in the Astros, the late Darryl Kyle was the last guy to do it in 1993.
Yeah,
efficiency, man. Efficiency. That is crazy.
Yeah, talk about being economical and frugal with your pitches. But you know what? And also inducing weak contact. Like some of these guys, when maybe nowadays when they're talking about pitching, maybe some analysts or even some scouts, they look for power. And Framber definitely has it. Like let me strike people out. But that's why you see the premium and strikeouts are so high. But that's how you see deep counts all the time. A lot of pitches. So when we see Framber do what he did, it's really a beautiful thing to see because he's inducing weak contact. It's like, here it goes. Strike one, ground ball. Strike two, strike one, fly ball, And then if he gets runs into a strikeout, it almost seems like you run into a strikeout and he takes it. But he's inducing weak contact, man, and just pounding the strike zone. That was masterful, Jesus. And you watched it firsthand right there.
I was like, the guy did not need 12 pitches in any inning. He had a 7-pitch inning. He had like 3 11-pitch innings. He had 3 8-pitch innings. I mean, the dude, like, imagine 8 pitches, and as you mentioned, Carlos, he's so good at inducing ground balls, and it's just like, hey, I trust my stuff. Here you go at it. And the guys know he's going to be around the strike zone, so they go in ready to attack, and just magical performance. I've covered a perfect game. David Cohn's perfect game for the Yankees in 1999. That to me is the greatest game I've ever watched, ever attended. I've covered 4 no-hitters, but seeing what my boy Framber was doing to a lineup that these guys scored 30 plus runs in the 4-game series and ended up with a split because the Astros, they won a 1-0 game and a 2-1 game. Think about that. Yeah. And they got a split with the Rays. And going back to our boy Junior Caminero, the very next day, and that's the sign of, you're never too high, never too low, right? Yeah. You take it on the chin today, and then tomorrow, what do? You have a historical 4.
You're the one who's punching.
2 home runs, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs. And I tell you what stood out to me, and I've interviewed, the greatest. I've interviewed, every type of ball player during my career, and everywhere I've been. But I always love the true modesty, because sometimes you see the false modesty, but this guy, to me, he seems so genuine. And I asked him, hey, can you pick your all-time Dominican team? And then he starts writing off the players, and then he gets to third base, and then he goes, oof. And then he goes, oh my.
Yep.
Adrian Beltre, Manny Machado, Jose Ramirez. And then he's like, how do you decide? And then he goes, I'm gonna go with Machado, his favorite player. Like, this guy's childhood hero is playing in the majors, and he's not into the macho. He's just gonna tell you, like, that's his childhood hero, Manny Machado. Mm-hmm. But he also knows, like, he wants to play for the Dominican, but Dominican is stacked at third base. Jose Ramirez, I think he's on pace to be in the Hall of Fame someday. I think he should have won at least one MVP. The one that he lost to Jose Abreu, a good argument. I really thought he was going to win it that year, because Jose Ramirez, I'd be surprised if Jose Ramirez isn't in the Hall of Fame one day. And Manny Machado, I'd be surprised if he's not in the Hall of Fame one day. And this kid wants to play for the Dominican.
Hey, man, he was so clear on this, because he spoke to Jansen Pujols as well, Jesus. And he said, look, even if I have to be the water boy, I'll be the water boy. I'll be the bad boy, but I need to be on that team. And he even directly sent a message to Albert Pujols. He goes, Pujols, I'll be your bad boy. I will be your water boy. I just want to be on that team, which is a cool attitude to have, Yeah, of course, the position is stacked, but, it's truly an honor to be part of WBC, but, your country, representing your country, your flag. So right on. I feel him. I understand. I perfectly understand. But what a great attitude, right? Like, what a great attitude to have.
Such a humble kid, man. Just really humble. You could see it, and then you could see it in his face, and you just it's almost like, he wants to be on that roster. And like you said, he knows it's stacked, but he wants to be in there because that's where he's gonna learn. He's gonna be around these pros, these all-time greats, potential future Hall of Famers in that roster. And he wants to pick up things. He wants to learn. He wants to be in those moments. Granted, we just went over. He had a massive moment in the Liga Dominicana, but to go into the WBC and be part of that roster to potentially win, the championship and win that cup. You know what I mean? Like that's massive, and that would be something for him that he will always remember. He said, "I want to put that in the journal of my life that I'm part of this roster and part of this team that potentially won." Like, it's a beautiful thing, and it's a great mentality to have. And again, we keep prefacing he's 21 years old and he's just wise beyond his years. But a lot of that just comes with him being humble. Look at this. Like, he's there, gave a bat to a young man, a Rays fan. These are moments that these players carry on, and they're giving to these kids. Man, the Rays got a good one here, and Carlos, you got a good one too, brother. This is one of them.
He's easy to root for. You know what I mean? He's very easy to root for. He's a very likable guy, and of course, he is extremely talented. All right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I liked is the fact that he is also a very hard worker. Because he wasn't swinging the bat the way he wanted to. He had his coach come over, like his personal coach, like someone he worked with in DR, to come over, help him and train. Like he's always trying to figure out ways to get better. And Jesus, as soon as he started making those adjustments, it's almost like he never rests. You know what I mean? He's like, okay, this is not working. What do I have to do? I'm going to do everything I can to make the adjustment. He makes the adjustment, goes off, and wins, a player of the week. Okay, just like that, But he put in the work. So it's not happening by chance. It's actually happening by design. And with that, like Jesus, I think this is a perfect moment to introduce, the quote of the day, and we're looking at these two stories. When we look at Framber Valdez and Junior Caminero, and how they put their first foot forward. You know what I mean? They just one foot in front of the other. Please share the quote of the day for today, because I think it's very fitting when we look at these two stories of success.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to mention if the listeners want to read the full story that we wrote on Junior Caminero, go to rsquina.com. We have a full feature on him with a lot of great insight into the kid, his upbringing, and what it means for him to be the Dominican. The quote of the day from a gentleman named Mark Twain: "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." And I thought this was perfect for this episode, because getting started. Junior Caminero got started in the majors at 20 years old. He played only 7 games in 2023. And then last year, he split the season between Durham and the majors. And it's all about getting started, getting your feet wet. As Carlos knows, it's not easy to play in the majors. And now he's had that. And boy, did he get started this year. He just came off his greatest week of his career. His numbers, already has career highs in home runs and RBIs. And I would not be surprised if he ends up with 30 home runs this year. He's at 13, I think, already.
Yeah.
The kid is special. And I love the fact that on, a few days after we found out that our awesome colleague, Carlos Peña, is the general manager of Escogido, and we get to highlight one of his players, a kid who's played at Escogido the last 2 years. And, it's such an exciting time, and I can't wait to the opening day fiesta where we get treated like kings. Cuz Roz and I, we get right? We got to go.
I'm expecting a sweet treatment. I'm expecting Juan Soto family levels of treatment. So I'm expecting a private jet. I'm expecting suite. I'm expecting just ultimate access. Jesus, we got to bring the mics because we got to interview the entire team. This is going to be a free for all, because our esteemed colleague Carlos Peña, my cousin, he's going to give us all this access. I know you are, Carlos. Thank you. I appreciate it. You don't have to say anything. We know. It's okay.
Tú vas para los bleachers, brother. Para los bleachers, allá arriba. That's really where you're gonna feel the intensity of the stadium, bro. You gotta go over there to the bleachers. That's what the parties are at. Yeah.
Cool. That's true.
Or atop the dugout. I'll settle for the dugout right there with all the dancing.
Yeah.
And all
Unbelievable. It's fun everywhere, bro. It's fun everywhere in Dominican.
I want to see Jesus dance bachata on the dugout. I gotta see that.
I do it, man. I do it. You gotta understand, I could dance, bro. I just want some chivo. I know.
Get over here. Get over there. Get over there. Of course. Oh, yeah. Wow, you impressed me, Jesus. You know about that. I got you. Okay. Yeah, you're both welcome, guys. It's going to be it's going to be a fun season over there in the Winter League, and really pulling for our guys, man. You know, not only Junior Caminero, also pulling for all the Dominican players in the big leagues. You know, Jesus mentioned Framber, but we have some very, very exciting young stars. And just like Jesus was talking about, just taking that first step, you know, and getting ahead and getting started. You know, it's very practical, actually. Even in our lives, you know, sometimes you have a big task to accomplish, and it's hard to move, you know, because it's kind of a very defiant challenge. But then you get started, one foot in front of the other. You know, you don't have to, you don't have to finish it all at once. Just get going, You need to get your health in check. Okay, let's start exercising. Maybe it's just go for a walk. You know, maybe drink a little bit more water. Just get started, get moving in the right direction. And these kids, man, they're perfect examples of that. So glad to have them.
Before we go, I want to point out, it was really cool for me to see the LSU baseball team.
Yes,
Plakata, to describe a big home run yesterday in the regional. So hey,
that was awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to LSU.
Yeah, man, that's hey, that's legit. Hey, the super regionals, the regional just happened. Super regionals are coming up. You know, college baseball getting super exciting, man.
Very hot right now.
It's awesome. So we're gonna keep an eye on the LSU Tigers for more Plakatas. All right. And with that, gentlemen, we wrap up another episode of Plákata Nation. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. And just like, you know, our man Junior Caminero did in the Winter League, straight away center field, sobre el paredón de los 411, Plakata! Till next time. Today's episode of the Plákata Nation podcast was produced by the Aristina Podcast Network. Executive produced and edited by Ras Guevara. Additional engineering support and publishing by Francisco Castro. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen. It really helps us grow the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.